I'm the Executive Director of the Genesee Center for the Arts and Education, and I've been here for 11 years. The Arts Center started in 1970 in a small house over on Genesee Street, and that's where the genesis of the name came from, the Genesee Center for the Arts. Genesee Street wasn't large enough, and they looked for another location. Here on Monroe Avenue, there was an old firehouse, which the organization eventually purchased and moved into. We became a nonprofit arts center in 1973, and at that time we had a lot of other activities that were going on in this building. It started kind of like an incubator for people with different social justice ideas, services to the community, as well as arts, were all happening here in this building. It was an interesting time in the 70s and then early 80s, and what grew out of that was the strength in the arts programming, first with our pottery programs, then with our photography, and then in 2005 we added printing and book arts as a third area of visual arts programming, and that's how things got started. So we have three program areas in visual arts that we concentrate on: photography, pottery, letterpress printing, and book arts. These areas offer classes directly to the public, adults and youth programming, and the classes can be anything from how to use various equipment to the aesthetics of the medium to hands-on training and activities that might eventually lead someone to be able to do this as they're living. Sometimes people are coming here just for the adventure and excitement of doing art, but other people might be coming here because they're looking to gain skills for jobs and employment that they hope to have in the future. We have a number of events that we do every year, some of them revolving around exhibits that happen, and those vary from year to year, but we always have exhibits going on in our gallery spaces. We also have two major fundraising activities each year. One is the chili cook-off, and that's really popular, where we have local restaurants serve their chilies, and our potters here locally make the chili bowls that people can take as part of their ticket price for that event. And the other one is an outdoor festival, which is centered around bicycling and printmaking. It's called Spokes and Ink, and Spokes and Ink has occurred for the last 6 years and is very popular. Again, this is an outdoor activity. We have musicians participate, we have local artists make posters that have a bicycle theme, we have hands-on activities here for people. It's just an overall fun time.
Hi, I'm Megan Charlin. I'm the Communications Coordinator at Genesee Center for the Arts and Education. So we find our instructors all over the place. We have, retired professors from local colleges that end up coming to teach here, students straight out of their MFA program that want to teach, get that, that teaching experience. We also have prior students who have come here in certain classes, and then they end up, becoming masters in their field, and they decide they want to come back and teach students just to kind of continue that experience and really share what they've learned with the community. We also, throughout the year, will put out calls for new instructors, and then we also take proposals. If someone, an artist in the city really wants to teach a class, we definitely encourage them to get in contact with us to share that skill set with the community.
My name is Amanda Chestnut. I've been an artist in residence here at the Genesee Center for the Arts since September, so 8 months, 7-8 months. And being an artist in residence at the Genesee Arts Center is a really good opportunity for me. I don't have a lot of space in my home at this point in time to use as a working studio space, and this residency gives me a full year of access to the Genesee Arts Center. I've actually been a member here for 8 years, but this is my first time being involved on this level. So this is my first time teaching a class here. This is my first time spending this much time here in this kind of constructed manner. So it's been really, really good for me, being only a year out of school, to have the kind of structure that having a workshop that I have to be in provides. It's been really healthy for me to encourage me in continuing my practice. Today I'm teaching a class on bookmaking, and all residents have a teaching requirement here at Printing and Book Arts. I've been making books for just about my whole life, so I've been making more formal artist books for the last 4 years or so. So I have kind of applied that experience. The class I'm teaching today is more technical bookmaking. It's not necessarily the type of information that you would use for making an artist book, but more the technical skills required to actually build a book. So that's what we're going to be doing in class today.
My name is Stephen S. Reardon. I'm a commercial editorial photographer. I've been doing this for over 23 years. Did it in Denver, Colorado for 13 years, but Rochester is my home base, born and raised. Love it here, decided to come back. I found the Art Center when I started to want to process black and white film. Started to use their darkroom, then I noticed that they had a studio, and it's a big studio. I love it. They have all this equipment you can use, the lighting equipment you can use. You just have to take a small little class to learn how to use it, but after that, anyone can come in as long as you're a member. The Arts Center here is more than just an art center. It's an educational center, and they offer classes, so many classes, from photography to ceramics to letterpress, and their goal is to educate and to stimulate the community. It's fantastic.
Places like Genesee Center are so important to the community, especially here in Rochester. We believe here, we believe in art for all people, and we really cater to everyone here locally and on the national level. We teach, we have classes throughout the year in book arts, photography, ceramics. So we offer this space, this really open space for people to come and learn, to refine, skills that they are possibly already working on, or if you're trying to learn something new. We have college students that maybe couldn't quite fit that ceramics class in their schedule, and they want to come and, and learn how to throw on the wheel. We have professional artists that are possibly, they want to learn how to use Illustrator or InDesign to help their own art practice. We have students from local elementary schools where possibly that school doesn't offer, that art class, and you are able to do that here. So we really cater to everyone, and we pride ourselves in that accessibility and that openness here at the center.
My name is Tate Shaw. I'm the director here at Visual Studies Workshop. I've actually been here since 2003 in some capacity. I was a MFA graduate student at VSW, came to VSW to study with the founder of VSW Press, Joan Lyons, and after graduate school started teaching in the MFA program and eventually became asked to be the director starting in 2008, and I've been doing that since then. So almost into 8 years, going on 9 years now as the executive director of the nonprofit, plus chairing the MFA program here at VSW. This building and 31 Prince Street in Rochester has always been a school in some way or another. It was originally erected as part of the University of Rochester. It was the Women's College. The front building, we would call it 31 Prince Street, was the school. I think the back building was the dormitory, and all connected to the Neighborhood of the Arts, other spaces, the Memorial Art Gallery, and the School of the Arts, which was the walking campus of the University of Rochester. Now the building houses all of our program efforts. We have a research center which holds just thousands of books and periodicals, as well as prints, photographic prints, and films and videos. It's a great collection in a lot of ways because of how it was formed. The founder of VSW, Nathan Lyons, was the curator for the George Eastman Museum in the 1960s, so he knew very well what they had in store in their collection, and then he opted in a way to go a different direction entirely, to collect a lot of vernacular items, snapshot photography, things that the Eastman Museum would not necessarily take in vast quantities, at least in their collection. So it's a unique archive. It's very much an experimental archiving collection for use by artists, by curators, and students to try out things that have never been done, or they themselves, the students, have never been done before. Our other programs include a journal, After Image, that we've been publishing since 1972. And After Image entails coverage of photography, film, video, book arts, reviews, essays, critical thinking about those different fields. It largely also covers media activism at the moment. So most of the articles have some kind of political angle in some way or another, it seems, and it comes out 6 times a year. We have an exhibitions program. We've had hundreds of exhibitions at VSW in some capacity or another, and the building has a gallery, as well as some unofficial but informal and still successful successful gallery exhibition spaces. We have been publishing artist books, which is the big reason I came and was interested in VSW. Since 1971, Joan Lyons founded VSW Press, as I mentioned, and I think we've published a few over 500 books to date. Artist books are books that are artworks, in essence, things that were made to be kind of outliers in the art world, not necessarily things that you would go to a space to see. Things, they're objects that go to you so you can see the artwork, and they have their own kind of specific language and form. And we often publish those books through residencies, where an artist will come to stay with us for a month, maybe less, create work at the time, and then we help them facilitate the publication and distribution of that book. We have a great screenings program, film screenings, mostly experimental film, but gets into also new media work, and that's been really growing in the last several years due to an energetic curator we have here, Tara Miranda Nelson, who manages the screenings program, as well as curates the collection, takes care of the film and video collection that we have at VSW. And of course, the biggest program we have is the Master of Fine Arts in Visual Studies at Visual Studies Workshop, which is a completely unique program where an MFA for a state school, State University of New York, College of Broadport, actually takes place at a functional nonprofit artist-based organization. So the graduate students here are integrated in some ways or another with all of the programs I just mentioned. They do their research in the research center like any artist or curator or visiting researcher does. They see the same exhibitions. They work on the exhibitions here at the nonprofit as part of general coursework, but also volunteerism and for credit. They work on publications to some extent, although those are usually more independent affairs, but they do see activities that we have here, like a pub fair. We do an independent publishing fair every year, and the graduate students are involved in that. They make their own books and they learn about publications through that. Sometimes they'll be involved with the after-image program as graphic designers, or write small reviews for the journal as it comes out. And of course, they attend all the screenings and things that also take place here, and are engaged with the artist residents when we have a resident at VSW. So that's the kind of scope of the programming that takes place.
My name is Ray Mitrano. I work a lot in drawing, merging it with film, video, animation, and a lot of work in participatory installations around the Rochester communities at large, and I'm currently in my thesis year of the graduate program through Visual Studies Workshop. I work a lot in the context of different organizations, sort of as a artist in residence, or in places that don't even really ask for artists in residences. In the past, I've worked with farmers markets, music venues, different communities that I try to integrate my work into. VSW, Visual Studies Workshop, has this hybrid graduate program that allows people of any background, whether it's artists, people who majored in psychology, science majors, bachelors in any sort of accounting, come here and utilize the collection to look at research-based creativity through art concepts. VSW's auditorium has been a great draw for me to be here. It's focus in still image, moving image, and book arts has been just so wonderful for my practice, and just getting into all of these historical formats. And it's really a hub of a lot of different Rochester-based arts communities. A lot of people will just sort of end up here on First Fridays. It's a really open and accessible place, and I think pretty on the forefront of experimental types of work in Rochester.
My name is Sage Lewis, and I'm a visual artist, currently based in Vermont. And I'm here in the project space at the Visual Studies Workshop, doing a month-long residency program. The project space is a really wonderful opportunity for me to really have the time and space and support of some equipment and printing facilities that I wouldn't otherwise have. One of the things that I wanted to do when I came to this residency is to pick up on a body of work that I started about a year ago when I was living in Qatar in the Middle East. And I was photographing the desert a lot, and I started making prints of patterns in the sand and kind of geological features of the desert onto fabric. And simultaneously I was learning a fabric dyeing technique called shibori, and particularly one method called arashi, which is also called pole wrapping of the fabric. And it's a type of resist dye that creates also sort of a waveform pattern in fabric. So I was inspired by the way that I could actually combine these two methods and actually do this dyeing technique to my images, my photographic prints that were on fabric. So that's one of the projects that I've been working on since I've been here. And now that I'm not living in Qatar, I have a different relationship also to the images and to the experience of memory and place and kind of the recollection of the sort of disorienting effects of being in the desert and thinking about relationships of scale and orientation and kind of how to use close observation to try to know something about a place and kind of the impossibilities of that. One of the nice surprises about being at the Visual Studies Workshop is access to their amazing collections. So I recently have been sorting through glass lantern slides, which they have many thousands of, and discovering some really interesting and beautiful images which are pressed between two plates of glass, and particularly in the geology section. So I've been looking at geological specimens and photographs of different geological features in the land and the earth from all over the world, and kind of pulling out the ones that are interesting to me, projecting them actually onto a backdrop of watercolor painting. So there's like a color field that I project these images on, and then I've been photographing the actual projection and making prints from those photographs. And you can see as you look around the room, I'm also working with a lot of really bright and kind of optical color effects. So as I have been projecting the lantern slides, I've been playing with colored theater gels over the projection to create a much more kind of enhanced and artificial color effect on the image. So that kind of gets at my interest also in the kind of false color that is often used in scientific imagery from outer space particularly, and in making connections between some of the devices that are used to picture the surface of the moon, for example, the surface of Mars, the roving cameras, and the type of landscape and cropping and framing of those views that we see from those cameras, and comparing those and mixing them into the images that I took on the ground in the desert.
My name is Fred Armstrong. I'm the owner and founder of Animatus Animation Studio here in Rochester, New York. We started Animatus in 1989. We started our animation workshops in 1992 and been going strong ever since. So here at the Animation Workshop, we've been working with young folks and sometimes adults, sometimes some challenged folks. And we've been teaching the fundamentals of 2D hand-drawn animation, stop motion animation, and getting into the digital realm, doing Toon Boom and After Effects and Flash animation programs. We try to teach the fundamentals of animation. We try to get everybody's creative juices flowing, as well as having fun while they learn. And the kids and adults get very excited when they see their characters or animations come to life. That's very rewarding when you see that spark in the eye when it clicks and they see what they can do.